Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the Back Post. My name's Callum Pask, with me Julius Ross. As always, third week now of the Summer Cup competition. Tonight we're coming to you live from Wellesley Street, the home of South Hobart's training ground. It is stiflingly hot in this suit, Jules, but probably not as hot as it's forecast to be for the weekend. 35 degrees on both Saturday and Sunday. Should see maybe a little bit of heat exhaustion creep into the game, especially given that fitness levels potentially aren't at their peak heading into the season proper. And with the rubber crumb at the bottom of the artificial turf out at Olympia, you would think that that heat's going to reflect up into the players even more. Jules, we'll turn our eyes to the opening fixture Friday night. We're at South Hobart. Last week they probably thought they weren't in with a sniff, probably done and dusted for the Summer Cup, but they were thrown a lifeline by Eagles, lost last weekend. How did you see that game, and how do you see South Hobart versus Olympia on Friday panning out?
Well, obviously it's going to be a cooler game for those two teams, so I don't think heat's going to come into the equation with that game, but I think obviously South, now that they've been thrown a lifeline, they do perform when the big matches count. So I think, in terms of this match, I think they will be turned on and ready to win the game. They have got a couple of doubts. They've got Nick DeFalco and Greg Duffy that might not play, so we're not sure who's going to cover for them in defence, but at this stage I think they're fairly full strength apart from those two. In Olympia's camp they actually look like they're missing Janko Begovic, Josh Fielding and possibly Chris Kumpalainen as well will miss another week of football. So in terms of those three outs, they're quite big outs for them, so I think they're going to struggle to cover for those three outs, and I think that probably puts South as the favourites.
I would think so, certainly knowing Ken Morton's team. They've been given a second chance and they haven't needed many of those in the last few years, and you think they'd probably pounce on that one, that's for sure. And we expect them, given the fixture, we expect them to probably deal with Olympia and maybe make their way through to the semi-finals of the Summer Cup. Heading through into Saturday, again obviously Newtown were scheduled to play Derwent United at 1 p.m. That's obviously no longer a fixture. So the 11 a.m. match that was scheduled, Knights versus Metro, has been moved to 1 p.m. And how do you see that one playing out, Jules?
Well, it could be really a dead rubber. I mean, obviously if Olympia do South on winning at South on Friday night, then Olympia's through, and so that really is a dead rubber. But if South actually beats Olympia by quite a large margin, then we'll see a bit of an interesting game between Knights and Metro. You'd think Knights have probably got the firepower to get a good result, so they might be looking after Friday's result to get a big result against Metro.
And of course, we move to the 5 p.m. game. Clarence play Nelson. Clarence probably still struggling for a little bit of form, would you say? How do you see that one playing out?
I think against Taroona really did play well against Clarence last week, but the second half they just came over the top of them in the last 15-20 minutes, and there were 4 goals in the late periods of the game. So I think it'd be interesting to see. Nelson have been quite weak, to be honest, in this tournament. That's part and parcel of being a League One club that is developing, and also they've got young players and that sort of thing. So I think Clarence are going to be too strong. Emmanuel Sekiris has been in great form. He bagged a hat-trick in that game, and I think he probably would run a little bit right, I think, this weekend against Nelson. So I can't see anything but a Clarence win. But in that Group B, it looks like Kingborough's got that under their belt. I think they're going to win against Taroona. So I think on Sunday, I think that's probably a dead rubber as well, Clarence versus Nelson.
And obviously Sunday moves us to the early kick-off. Beachside play University. Probably both clubs in both competitions maybe looking a little bit weak. Beachside will be welcoming back, I would think, some of their suspended players from the first week's game, where they had 3 players red carded. But University, there seems to be worrying signs for them very early on in the piece that potentially as the newly promoted club, they may be on the end of a few hidings this year, Jules.
Yeah, definitely. They have been very concerning in their first 2 games, conceding a lot of goals and really struggling to match it against a Premier League side in Zebras, but also at a League One club in Hobart United. They were trounced 9-0, so that's quite unbelievable to be honest at that scoreline. But they also have had a few players out. I believe Julian Proud is yet to come back in, and he might feature in this game. We'll see on the weekend. In terms of Beachside, they'll welcome back Jack Turner, Ben Davis and Luke Atkin, who were all sent off in the first game, and so they'll really strengthen their side. They did also welcome some other players in that had to cover for those 3 absentees. Last week we saw Tom Gordon, Robert Knight and also Andrew Douglas come in, and they covered quite well for Beachside. So I think they'll fare very well against University. They'll know them from their Div 1 ties back in the day, and University really do need to win this game and make some sort of impact early. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of pressure on their new coach.
I'll put it out there and probably say I'm probably back on the beach side. More from, you spoke about some of those names that came in to fill in for the 3 suspended players, and I guess that's testament to Brett Pullins, the respect he commands around the game in the Southern Premier League, and the players at his disposal that he's had contact with in the past, and he has names to sort of pull on, people that know him, people know that he is a quality coach, and blokes like the calibre of Robert Knight, who potentially, some might say, could still be playing at a Premier League standard if he wanted to put the time in. Of course, that takes us to Kingborough Lions and Taroona. They play at 1 p.m. on Sunday. Kingborough have been really, really impressive, Jules. Matthew Rhodes has got them drilled really well. They've recruited well, and they look fast. They look professional in the new strip, and I've been really impressed with them. I think between them and Zebras, I'm really excited about the season coming. Of those two teams in particular, really challenging and taking it up to South, and in fact I would say Zebras, as we've already mentioned in weeks gone past, are favourites. Kingborough versus Taroona, surely Kingborough will take that one pretty easily.
Yeah, certainly. I think, as you said, they've been playing some really good football, and gone are the days of their kick and boot and putting 9 or 10 players behind the ball as they used to do at the Den and play quite defensively against visiting sides, just to snatch a point here and there. They actually are playing very nice attacking football, free-flowing stuff. Obviously, their captain Marcello Macchioli, I think he bagged 4 goals last week, so he's in great form and leading quite a young side, but a very talented side at this stage.
Yeah, we thought he might have had 5 on the weekend, but it turns out just 4. So, Marcello, congratulations on that. Viewers, I do apologise for my top lip sweat. It is extremely hot here at the moment. And that takes us to our last game of the round, Jules. Hobart United versus Zebras. Again, that's 5 p.m. Sunday, and probably a pretty one-sided affair, to be honest. Hobart United have been impressive. They've got 6 points in their group. Zebras with 6 points as well, but surely they're the favourites to progress to the semi-finals, aren't they?
Yeah, I think Zebras under Eamon Kelly, they're quite disciplined. They're obviously a Premier League side with Premier League players, and they've been fantastic in pre-season. The fact that they've beaten teams quite convincingly, but also the fact that they've really played some good football. Hobart United, they're also been impressive, but I think the fact that they're a League One side, they're a little bit unfit at this stage of the season. I think they'll struggle.
Yeah, look, and I went to the Italian festival on the weekend, last weekend on the Sunday. Great to see the Zebras had a tent there. They were selling merchandise, and good to see a presence there up in North Hobart at the Italian club, where their roots are certainly based, and great to see that club just growing strength to strength. It's another big weekend, Jules. Tell us, who are you tipping? And I guess in turn, who are we tipping for the semi-final showdowns at the end of this weekend?
I think it's hard to go past in Group A. I think Olympia is going to get through, and I think they'll play Kingborough in the first semi, and then the second semi I think you'll probably see South versus Zebras. We would like to see a bit of a shake-up, wouldn't we, Callum? But I think at this stage, given the placings of those teams and the fixtures that we've just talked over tonight, I think it's probably going to be Olympia versus Kingborough and South versus Zebras.
Fantastic, Jules. Well, I look forward to covering the games with you on the weekend. I'm sure everyone else is looking forward to seeing some of those battles. Certainly the Friday night fixture between South and Olympia should be a fiery affair, and hopefully plenty of people are out for it, given that it will probably be the only cool time to watch any sort of soccer this weekend. It's going to be hot in the kitchen on Saturday and Sunday over at Olympia Warrior Park. We'll be there. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you at Summer Cup Round 3, Friday, Saturday and Sunday.